Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about the Walking Dead comic, issue 166. To recap it real quick, essentially Rick and Negan cleared out some walkers, they ran into some other survivors, and then Rick ran into Carl. They kind of met in the middle. I like how Rick asks, "Where's Maggie?" He's like, "Oh shit, I know it's coming." And then the saviors show up, there's a standoff, and Sherry go in to talk as leaders to try to work things out. Sherry loses her shit, tries to kill Rick. Rick accidentally kills Sherry. Andrea walks in, reveals her wound, that she's been bitten. She's sweating. So I guess we can kind of assume it is a bite. It's not a trick. It's not a gunshot, unless that's part of the trick as well. But it fits the sweats that you get and losing your balance, losing your function, your motor skills and everything like that. It fits in the world of The Walking Dead. Yeah, that's it. That's the cliffhanger. All right, so that's the recap. Now, let's do a play-by-play real quick because there's a couple things I wanted to point out because I kind of feel like they missed the part where Carl realizes Negan is free. They just totally breezed over that. And I feel like Carl and Negan, that aspect had so much going for it. To just breeze over Carl just realizing, oh, Negan's free. I don't know. It felt like, it felt like that was missing and it should have been in the script. Anyway, Magnus like, oh shit, Andrea, you've been bitten. And Andrea's all about the business. We need to get the zombies out of here. Or the walkers, we need to get them towards the ocean. I like how Negan is straightforward and blunt about Siddiq hiding. He's like, yeah, you were hiding. I think he says it a few different times. But Carl here shows up. Now, Negan is right behind Rick. Rick goes to kill a walker, and I guess Carl's behind the walker. Carl cuts his head off. Rick has the axe up, and he's like, oh, shit. Carl gives him a hug. Negan is right behind Rick, and they don't do anything. Carl and Lydia are talking. I'm looking at the panel now on my phone, and there's no mention of it, and I'm trying to look to see where everyone's positioned. But, yeah, that looks like Negan right there. So Carl is definitely there, but there's no mention of it whatsoever. I don't know. I kind of feel like that is wrong. Carl should at least be like, what is this son of... So he's out, he's helping. I got my eye on you. Anything. Or maybe Negan says, I know, you're going to keep your eye on me. You know what I mean? Like anything. I mean, shit. It could be 2 panels. But we don't get anything with Negan and Carl. No shock look or anything. But the saviors show up. And I like how Dwight has this tear in his eye. As if he has this bias. Like not just that the saviors are going to betray them, but this is Sherry. So where Dwight's coming from, you know, I feel like Rick should have paid a little bit more attention to Dwight. Sherry's a person, I know everyone overlooks Sherry, especially in the comics. She hasn't gotten too much development, but this is a person who was with Dwight, and this is a person who, in the comic, don't confuse it with the show, because they are different in how they connected with Negan. In the comic, she chose to go with Negan. And in Negan's backstory, it makes it appear as if before Negan was the leader, she chose to hook up with Negan in a hotel. You know what I mean? While they were on runs and shit like that. So this is a bitch who chose Negan for maybe security or maybe a lay. It doesn't matter. Before he was the leader. And then once he became the leader and he established his rules, now we're starting to see a clearer picture, you know, when Negan is like, listen, Dwight, that bitch was a bitch. You know what I mean? I did you a favor by showing you her true colors. Now it's starting to make more sense. I mean, in a TV show, yeah, they're going to have to write around that a totally different way. That's going to have to play out completely different. That's one of my tricks to predicting the show. I look at how they remixed it, and then I know in the future they can't do this exactly. They have to remix it. There's no way you can bring this out the same way. We could talk about the Sherry and Negan thing because this is kind of unfolding as we're getting this new information, and that's something I didn't highlight before, but it's interesting when you think about it. They made it seem really clear that Sherry hooked up with Negan before he became the leader and before he made her his wife. So everyone's giving Negan shit. Oh man, he's forcing Sherry, and we're talking about the comic again. But did he? No, he didn't. Because she willingly hooked up with him beforehand. So that shit makes it really interesting now. So anyway, Dwight's with Sherry. Sherry picks Negan, and then when Negan becomes the leader, Sherry goes to Negan for security, safety, luxury, she still feels bad. You know, they still show her feeling guilty, being like, I'm sorry, Dwight. Dwight's like, you bitch. And then after Negan is defeated, Sherry doesn't even stay with Dwight. Sherry goes with some other guy. Do they say who? I don't even know if they say who. But Dwight and that new girl talk about it. So Dwight knows, like, Rick, you can't trust this bitch. Rick is like, all right, everyone stand down. And then he says, all right, Sherry, come with me. At this point, I wanted a fed up Rick where he just, as she's running her mouth, he just cuts her head off, carries it right out to everybody, and he says, Bloom, you don't want to be with us? Fine, leave. You'll never hear from us again. But if you ever threaten our people, I will personally chop every single one of your heads off. I will put them on poles. Anything. I mean, make it like reminiscent of something the Whispers did. Like as if Rick kind of snapped. And I know, I forgot he's the good guy. He's the hero just for a moment. Because they go into Rick being the good guy in a moment. And it did kind of frustrate me as the reader. I'm like, Rick, you gonna let her slap you? Rick, you're gonna let her pull a knife on you? Rick, you're gonna let her choke you? Like, what the fuck, you know? And Rick does. I mean, she's losing her shit, and she is losing her shit. Listen, she kind of has a point. If she doesn't want to be with the communities, that's fine. If she doesn't want to be pulled into their wars, that's fine. But on the same strength, if the Whispers are attacking you, bitch, don't come knocking and being like, hey, Rick, we need your help. No, so if they want to break away, you know, that is absolutely fine. They don't need to be united. And Rick isn't controlling them. They have a system set in place, and Rick was filling that void, that leadership void. You see what I mean? So she is losing her shit in a way. But I get where she's coming from as far as not wanting to be united. Real places do that. Real countries do that. Real communities do that in real life. They don't always want to be allied and whoop-de-whoop because of certain different things. So that's fine. But then she loses her shit and she's like, no, Rick Grimes, he dies today. And then, I don't know. I guess I'm just annoyed that how it played out where Rick is like, look at him. He's even like, oh, wait, let me show you. Look at him. Sherry, stop. What are you doing, you crazy man? Okay, I'm done. I came. Let me go. So he kicks the chick and she snaps her neck, it looks like. Let me see. Yeah. He kicks her and she snaps her neck off on the table. That's fine. He accidentally kills her. And he is the hero, you know? I much would have rather preferred him to just tear her head off her body because she was annoying me. But he is the hero, accidentally kills her, and then Andrea comes stumbling in. She's been bitten. I want to look at this close in case we are missing anything, but yeah, she stumbles down and she reveals she's been bitten. And I really like this, and we talked about this. They do this often in The Walking Dead, and I would imagine in other comics. They will have the scene or a moment from one comic be the cover for the comic that's coming behind it. And I think that is 167's cover, if I'm not mistaken, where you have Rick and Andrea kneeling down, just like this cliffhanger. And I love that. I love that. We're not going to go into predictions in this video. We'll wait a few days, maybe a week or two. No, a week at the most, and we'll do a prediction video. But this honestly might open up the possibility of Rick just snapping and losing his shit in a way. Maybe he does pull out his hatchet. He has his hatchet, right? Maybe he does pull out his hatchet and he just chops Sherry's head off. She's going to turn anyway. So he chops her head off and he takes it outside, and this is after Andrea dies. And I mean, will they wait that long? She'd have to turn. Maybe they'll do it slow, or they'll get her set up in a bed and she'll slowly die and yada, yada, yada. But it would be nice if Rick just says, you know what, get comfortable, sit here, Andrea. I need to take care of the saviors, and we'll come back and we'll deal with this. And this is Rick knowing he's about to lose her. So he chops off Sherry's head, walks out, and just puts the saviors in their place. I know I want that. It's probably not going to happen nowhere near that, but that's just something I want. All right, so for an issue, it was a good read. It was an interesting read, and this also highlights what makes it a little frustrating and problematic doing the prediction videos for the comic. I would much rather just revisit the old story. To be honest, if you were like, yo, Ronnie, let's do more comic videos, what would you rather? I want to discuss the story that has already came. I don't care if it's starting with the first, trade paperback, the first 6 issues, and then taking a little bit of time and piecing together a video going over the first 6 issues, then the next 6, and so on. I would much rather talk about stuff that's already out than ever predict this stuff with the comic, because we'll sit here, predict what's going to happen in 166, and then when it comes, I didn't know it was going to be a whole issue of Sherry and Rick talking. I mean, hell no. So now it's like, okay, well, what's going to happen in the next issue? I don't know. Does the shit I predicted before, half of it, I still kind of believe, so let's roll that over into the next month. Same thing with the radio. We've been predicting the radio shit for 9 months now, and we don't get any new information. So it's like, hey, Ronnie, make a video about the radio. I still have the same thoughts. I still think it's going to be a tool to use to, enlarge the story. So we have to go out there and link up with the radio people. I don't think the radio people will come to Alexandria. I mean, what good is that for the reader? The reader wants to discover, they want, new stuff. So it makes sense for us to go there. You know what I mean? So the comic, it does get problematic and frustrating as hell discussing what's going to happen in the future story. We could do quick little videos and whoop-de-whoop, but we're still talking about Negan's scar. It's been over a year, I'm starting to honestly feel like Kirkman just forgot about the scar. I thought the scar would have been used for the Whispers. That would have been a cool idea. They didn't go that direction. I ain't mad. They don't have to go that direction. But now I'm thinking, all right, the scar is definitely for the backstory. But we're 48 pages into the backstory, and, there's no scar. Maybe there's going to be a mention, but I doubt it at this point. Anyway, I'm just highlighting there's certain things that we will discuss, but it's not like the TV show where you have this one season where they're going to cover everything. And if they don't, if there's stuff that's left open-ended, like the Heath disappearance, we know there's no way in hell they're not going to cover that in Season 8. It would have to be a weird, crazy, Heath is, the actor's busy until Season 9 type shit, and then boom, he makes a return. But that's rare in TV. They rarely do that shit. It happens, but it's rare. So with TV, we know we have a time frame. With the comic, man, it could take a year. It could take 3 months, 6 months, and then you get people like, oh, we want that prediction, but it's like, it's the same as 2 months ago, so I'll just be repeating myself. Anyway, I did like this issue. It was a good read. I'm in the same boat with a lot of fans who were getting a little frustrated with Rick being slapped around, pushed around, kicked around. It is getting a little frustrating. Even reading, I found myself going like, Rick, just slap her, gouge her eyes out. I don't know, something, Rick. Get your hatchet. I don't want to read this right now. You know what I mean? Like, Rick has been pushed, kicked, beaten, choked, jumped by kids, by old people, by young people, by... I don't know. I'm just naming shit because it's happened. But it was a good read. I think coming up in the next issue, we have what? We got the saviors we need to deal with. We have, and their leader is dead, so that's problematic. With Sherry, she has friends. That one girl, what's her name? Tara? I forget, but there's friends that are on her side. John seems like a friend. So they're not just going to take it lying down and be like, okay, even if it's a threat, I feel like there will be some type of conflict. You have Andrea, they got to deal with that. You also have the destruction of the communities, and what are these people going to do? We also have Maggie and Negan, and I hope they're not just going to breeze over that. If that was the main, meat of one single issue, dealing with that, even if it was just snapping out and Maggie trying to shoot him and he has to duck behind Dwight or something, I don't care. If it takes a whole issue, I'm fine with that, Just don't breeze over it. I like this issue. You guys give me your thoughts and opinions about it. I do want to give you an update. Somebody did ask Skybound online about the Here's Negan, and I guess it is going to be 64 pages now. I'm completely lost. I went and looked back at all the other articles, and it was always 48 pages from the gate. But there's sometimes where it says the first 48 pages, but it doesn't ever say there's going to be more. And then with the blind box, they're going to have the first 48 pages of the single issue. Maybe I'm just not reading it right, or maybe I'm not understanding it right, but why the fuck would you want an incomplete Negan story? Why in the hell would you want that? And then they said this is the only time they'll print it. So you're just playing with words. If you're only going to print 48 pages, it's not even the whole story. You got 48 pages, there's going to be 64. What is that? You're getting a little more than half, and then you're getting the rest of the story released in a little section. So I don't get it. It just doesn't make any damn sense to me. So that means that they will reprint Here's Negan, all 64 pages. But the people who are buying the expensive Image Plus box, there's no incentive now. The big incentive before was to get the Here's Negan, the complete story. But if you get the Image Plus, you're not getting the complete story. You're only getting the first 48 pages, which is where we're at right now. So you're going to get Here's Negan missing the last 16 pages of Here's Negan. I don't get it. I feel like I'm missing something, because that just sounds like an ass backwards way to release Here's Negan, a special incomplete copy that comes in the Image Plus blind box. I just don't get that at all. If you guys look into that, I'm quickly losing interest in that. I shit you not, more and more I'm happy with just stapling my copies of the Image Plus, the preview book. I shit you not, I'm ripping them out, I'm stapling them sons of bitches when they're all released, and I'm done with Here's Negan, because it just doesn't make any damn sense. And then the Mega Box actually looks really good. So check that out. That's by Skybound. This actually looks 10 times better, a lot more effort in than the first box that was released. All right, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.